guys, welcome back to Mr. P's Film Review, and I'm here with another retro review from the year 1992, and this time I'm going to be talking about Lethal Weapon 3, which was directed by Richard Donnor, and it sees Mel Gibson and Danny Glover reuniting for a third time as the lovable mismatched detectives Riggs and Murtagh. We also see the return of the brilliant Joe Pesci as Leo Getz. Stuart Wilson plays the villain Jack Travis, and we see Rene Russo as Internal Affairs Officer Lorna Cole. In this installment, we see Murtagh counting down the days till his retirement, but not before he and Riggs have to take down a former cop, played by Stuart Wilson, who has turned arms dealer who is selling guns with armor-piercing rounds to gangs in Los Angeles. As always guys, before we go any further, I want you to hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel, hit the alarm bell as well so you get notifications when a video is going to be uploaded, give this video a like as well, and please help share this video to help the channel grow. When it comes to on-screen duos, Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are one of my favourites. Their on-screen chemistry and banter have made Riggs and Murtagh such lovable characters. These two redefined the buddy-buddy mismatched cop genre. And with excellent storytelling and great writing, Lethal Weapon set a new standard for action comedies. The first two Lethal Weapon movies were 18, and they were quite hardcore and very dark in tone. Lethal Weapon 3 was rated 15, and I can say that this film certainly has more humour than the two previous installments, and I would say it's much more light-hearted. But just like Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, Lethal Weapon 3 has a lot of thrills and spectacular action sequences and shootouts. With Lethal Weapon 3, we see the focus more on the relationship between Riggs and Murtagh. And we see that a friendship / brotherhood has been built up here. This is tested to the core when Murtagh accidentally kills a 15-year-old kid who is a friend of his son Nick. This is a very emotional scene coupled with brilliant acting between Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. And I like the performance that Mel Gibson gives, especially when his character Riggs convinces Murtagh that he is hurting too about what happened and he doesn't want Murtagh to retire. The performances are both touching and brilliant in equal measure. The on-screen chemistry of Danny Glover and Mel Gibson has always been one of the key factors in Lethal Weapon, and this is what keeps Lethal Weapon 3 moving smoothly. Joe Pesci returns as Leo Getz, and he gave an excellent comedic performance in part 2, and he is just as funny in part 3. This time we see him working in real estate, trying to sell Murtagh's home before he retires. And just like Lethal Weapon 2, Danny Glover, Mel Gibson and Joe Pesci, when those three are together, they have excellent on-screen chemistry together and hilarious banter. We see the introduction of Rene Russo as Lorna Cole, a tough internal affairs officer who's investigating the theft of guns and why they've been ending up on the streets, and she suspects it's an inside job. I loved Rene Russo's performance and that her character was a love interest for Riggs. She was as tough as he was, she carried her gun the same way as he did, and one iconic scene is where they're comparing bruises about who's been shot the most in the line of duty, and this will be parodied in Loaded Weapon. Lorna Cole followed on from the strong lead of Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, in the fact that Lorna Cole is a strong female character who kicks ass, literally. Rene Russo undertook martial arts training from the late Cheryl Wheeler Dixon, who was also her stunt double. Rory and Grace, who trained Mel Gibson and Gary Busey in the first Lethal Weapon film, also provided training to Russo also, and was a stuntman for one of the fight sequences. Lethal Weapon has had its share of brilliant villains in the past, from Gary Busey, the late Mitchell Ryan and Joss Ackland. Stuart Wilson as Jack Travis was another excellent addition, and despite not having that much screen time in the movie, he did a good job for what he was given. The Lethal Weapon films, action-wise, were way ahead of its time, and 30 years on, the action sequences still hold as some of the best ever put to film. What I liked about action movies in the 90s is that the action sequences were practical, no CGI or green screens were used. And to quote an old saying, they don't make them like this anymore. And that is certainly the case with Lethal Weapon 3. Lethal Weapon 3 has some spectacular action sequences. From a brilliant opening, where Riggs and Murtagh fail to defuse a bomb and accidentally end up blowing a building, to a brilliant shootout in a subway, to a spectacular motorcycle chase, to the spectacular finale in the desert. These sequences can give some of today's action films a run for their money. And sonically, the explosions, gunshots, car crashes, they are so crisp. The late Richard Donnor knows how to ramp up and handle adrenaline-pumping action sequences, coupled with spectacular cinematography from the brilliant Jan de Bont. Lethal Weapon is backed up by a brilliant musical score courtesy of the late Michael Kamen, who's responsible for doing some of the best musical scores of the 80s and 90s, including the 3 Die Hard films, Renegades, License to Kill, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, The Last Boy Scout, and along with Eric Clapton's guitar score, The musical score has to be some of the very best ever put to film for an action movie. The musical score for every scene in Lethal Weapon fits perfectly. And it is a very vibrant score. Soulful in parts, very touching in parts, and very entertaining. For every element of Lethal Weapon, be it comedic, be it action, be it romantic, be it dramatic, it fits the bill perfectly. And Eric Clapton was responsible for composing 2 of the brilliant tracks on the excellent soundtrack for Lethal Weapon. The intro, It Was Probably Me, recorded with Sting, and the outro, Runaway Train, the brilliant track featuring Elton John. At 30 years old, Lethal Weapon 3 shows that Riggs and Murtagh are not too old for this shit. Lethal Weapon 3 still holds as an excellent action comedy, thanks to great direction and great performances. Lethal Weapon 3 will gross over $300 million worldwide, and to date, Lethal Weapon 3 remains as the highest grossing movie in the series. Lethal Weapon 3 spawned a video game that was released on the SNES, Game Boy, Amiga and Commodore 64, and there was also a pinball game released. I was in my teens when I discovered by accident that there was actually a post-credit sequence to Lethal Weapon 3, where we see Murtagh and Riggs go to defuse another bomb at a hotel, and as soon as Riggs steps out of the car, the building explodes. And we see our 2 heroes retreat, and then we hear them in unison complain and utter the most iconic line in the Lethal Weapon franchise.
Oh, I think you better get your girdle out of mothballs, Raj.
I get it. We're back in uniform again.
Buy one that fits.
10 more years of this. 10 more years.
Oh,
I'm too old for this shit.
Despite being lighter in tone than the 2 previous installments, Lethal Weapon 3 is still as entertaining, still as slick as its predecessors, and still a great watch, thanks to the endearing performances of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. So I'll give this film a very strong 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching as always. Please keep on watching because there will be more retro reviews and current reviews coming. I want you to hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit the alarm bell as well so you get notifications when my video is going to be uploaded. Give this video a like as well, and please share this video around. Leave your comment with what is your favourite scene for Lethal Weapon 3, and out of the 4 Lethal Weapon films, which one is your favourite? Comment down below and I shall see you all on the next film review.
You crazy son of a bitch! Yeah!